Hello YouTubers. This is how you can build a solar tracker for about 1/5 the price of buying one. I was checking on eBay for a frame that would hold my solar panels that would pivot and swivel to track the sun. And the cheapest you can find for 8 solar panels is $2,500. And I'm not even sure that includes the tracking hardware and a controller. So basically what I did is used a ladder. I build roofing hoists. I built about 400. Here's one right here that you can see. You put your material on there and it goes up to the top with your cable to pull the platform up and the materials to a roof. I have one right here. Let me see if I can get the focus good. That I build to go on top because a rung, an aluminum rung, can't handle 500 pounds like this steel can, and they just hooked a pulley in. So I used these basically on both ends of my ladders. Let's see if I can show it right there, to hold the ladder so that it could pivot freely. Actually, it can spin all the way around 360 degrees. If you wanted to experiment with some kind of tracking that would follow the sun 360 degrees night and day, like a 24-hour clock. So the first thing I'll show you right here is, while I got all this, is the way you would set up the top bracket. You'd have the piece like this. I'm just going to use this for example. You'd weld a washer right into the center on that side and on the other side. And these little 4-inch Lazy Susans work good for bearings. And you put another washer there, then a larger pin, just to hold it so that the ladder won't slip down off of the rod. This end here is attached to the post up there. So I'll get over there and show you better. And then you get your spacing right, then you can put on a metal clamp. I just have a plastic one here to demonstrate, onto the first rung of the ladder, and that'll hold all that part of the ladder that's going to be holding the most of the weight and where the actuator is going to be attached. Keep in mind those actuators can lift 330 pounds, so if anything is not going smooth, it's got enough pressure, it would break something here and your solar panels might fall. So as long as you do it like this, it'll be very strong. This would go into this end would go in, have a pin through it, and go into the metal plate that's screwed into your top post. The way to make these is pretty simple. You just would cut out a piece like this right here and bend that part that would be there down that way, and it will attach to the ladder. I use these $9 solar chargers. I put one on every 2 panels. That way I can monitor to see if there's a problem in the panels. It would show it's not generating the usually about 14.4, 14.1 volts. So we'll take a look. The first thing you need to do is, when you get it attached at the top, before you put any solar panels on, is you get an angle finder. Let me grab one right quick. And then you go on the internet and put in your city and latitude. And for me, I'm north of Mobile, Alabama. My latitude right here is 31 degrees. That's the setting that the ladder would be on 4 months of the year, but it'll be the 2 months as the sun is rising and 2 months as the sun is falling. So if you started out first of the year, or basically you could start it around Thanksgiving, November would be at the bottom. And you move to here in March, and then you go to the top in May. You go all the way to the top for 4 months. Then in September, you bring it back to here for 2 months. Then you go back to the bottom on Halloween, November, for the 4 months of winter. So this is the sun is at the lowest point during the winter, highest point during the summer. once you get your, well, one thing here, I put these, I set these posts at a 30-degree angle so they would not get in the way. From here, if you got a 16-foot ladder and a few inches on each side, basically about 17 feet, it's 40 inches from your latitude to the top of the post. That will give you a 10-degree change in angle. Now the longest day of the year is 15 degrees from your latitude. So this would be the summer. Then 40 inches below your latitude would be near the 15 inches, actually it's 10 degrees, near the 15 degrees that the sun will drop during the winter. Okay? So all you'd have to do is move this 4 times a year to correct the latitude setting. But for the longitude setting during the day, it has to change quite a bit during the day. I'll give you a quick glimpse up here of how this is done here. I got 2 washers that my pipe goes through, welded to that bar. And then I got a lazy Susan in there, and then I got a bar with a pin holding the washer against the lazy Susan so it can't slip out. The solar panels are put on with, let's see if I can get it to focus here where I'm at. Right here. That's just 1/4-inch stove bolts, but they'll be 4-inch one. That holds the solar panels on after you get everything set up. And if you want to make the thing go all the way around, it will. But once you put the controller on the arm on here, it's only going to move it back and forth, and you need it slightly outside the end. If you use an 18-inch, what's it called, linear accelerator actuator. This is your controller. The only thing I can tell you about the controller is this little book. It's pretty easy to do the wiring. But this little screw right here, I wish I could see it better, but it's the closest one to your on and off switch, or closest one to that blinking light. It sets how often the motor will engage to readjust to the light based on the sensor up there. So you want to tighten it down, because it'll go from like every second, if you want it to check every second, to like 4 minutes. In actuality, the solar panels work up to 18 degrees from dead center of the sun's focus. So they really need to only come on about every 2 hours, because that'll still give you 90% efficiency. And the way solar panels are made, the efficiency is within 5%. So if you get a 100-watt solar panel, the efficiency is up to 95% because of the variation in the solar cell, individual solar cells. So when you get ready to change this, on one of the months you want to change it. So let's see, in September, I would just pick it up. Shouldn't try to do this one-handed. And put it in there. From up there. I'm not going to put it back one-handed because it got shaky. Anyway, this is about 1/5 the price, and it's very sturdy. You can buy these 16-foot ladders for about $300 at Lowe's. You can use the top section, the 32-foot ladder. You can use the top 16-foot for one and the bottom 16-foot for the other. I have plenty here because I use the top section to make my roofing hoist, and the bottom are left over unless somebody comes by and picks up the whole system. I can't ship these. They're too expensive to ship. So I didn't really have to put much in this. But if you have to buy a ladder, you're about $300. This system here for tracking the sun is about $100. So that's the way I did it, and it's working very good. I'm using car batteries because I don't let them get below 50%. I have a shut off on them so that if they get below 50%, it just shuts down and keeps the battery from getting drained way down. So long as the battery's not drained down. I have a few that I've been running for about 4 years, and they still seem to be perfect. I check them once in a while. But that's the key to your batteries. Don't let them drain down. You might say, well, I'll get more use out of the battery draining it down to 25%. But it's just going to take just as long. It'll take twice as long or 3 times as long to build it back up to 80 or 90% or 100%. Since I've had these two in, I've been testing with a few lights, and it never. If you use them during the daytime, you have such a surplus that the batteries can't take, that it actually charges the batteries while you're running fans and lights and whatever you want to run from them. So if you can do anything during the daylight, you will get a lot more solar energy captured, because you're only going to have what the batteries are stored up for the daytime. I'll get a quick shot there if I can to see how that pin is holding the Lazy Susan against there. These arms can turn it anyway. I mean, with 330 pounds of lift, they can push it, but it just makes it smoother and it doesn't make a lot of noise. So that's my latest little project. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, just post them. Thank you, and goodbye.